Welcome back. State-owned enterprises Minister Erick Thohir plans to buy cattle farms in Belgium. According to him, the plan is to reduce beef imports. However, it turns out that the plan received much pros and cons.
State-owned enterprises Minister Erick Thohir said that the government plans to buy cattle farm in the Belgium. Purchases will be made through state-owned company, and later on, the farm is targeted to be a supplier of beef demand in Indonesia. The reason is, Minister Erick is upset because Indonesia always imports beef every year. However, the plan receives much pro and cons. Indonesian Cattle and Buffalo Breeders Association Chairman Nanang Purus Subendro said that buying livestock in the Belgium does not reduce imports. This is because the cattle produced by SOE in Belgium that are sent to Indonesia will also be counted as imported cattle. In line with Nanang, farming observer Rohadi said that buying a cattle farm in Belgium would require a large budget. And according to him, these funds should be used to empower domestic livestock. From all sources, IDX Channel.
Previously, it was known that Minister Erick Thohir in a webinar announced that government's planning to buy cattle farms in Belgium. Minister Erick even asked Ambassador Andri Hadi in Brussels to find cattle farms to sell in Belgium. Although this is still a plan, but it has various responses, it receives many pros and cons. But before we assess more about the issue, better we know about the basic thing first, which is the value chain itself. Let's see the first graphic. This is beef industry value chain. The first one is breeding, and the second one is feeding and butchering. Minister Erick Thohir said that Indonesia's cattle farm is mainly dealing with feeding and butchering because high-quality breeding still goes to European and U.S. cattle. Seeing the condition, Minister Erick Thohir stated that by buying cattle in Belgium, Indonesia can enhance the breeding. If Indonesia has its own farm in Belgium, then a license for superior cattle breeds can also be owned. But when we look up into reality, still beef import is still conducted massively in Indonesia. Many people wonder why Indonesia, as agriculture country with land spread across archipelago, can have shortage in beef. This is because the demand is high while it is not in line with production. In the next graphic, we can see the domestic beef production. This is Indonesia's beef production in 2018. It was on the level of 497,971 tons. In 2019, it was on the level of 504,000 tons. And in 2020, it was on the level of 515,627 tons. Meanwhile, the need for meat in Indonesia is around 700,000 tons, or the equivalent of 5 million per year. Of that amount, local cattle breeders can only fulfill around 500,000 tons. The needs of the domestic meat market inevitably have to be met partly from imports other than domestic production in the form of live cows and frozen meat. Therefore, let's see the target set of imported beef in the next graphic. This is Indonesia's imported beef target, cows, as much as 502,000 cows. And for in the form of meat, as much as 112,503 tons. We compiled the data from Ministry of Agriculture. The Central Statistic Agency noted that Indonesia imported 11,000 tons of meat during March 2021. This figure is up by 44.22% from the February 2021 meat imports of 7,000 tons. Add up from January to March 2021, the total imported meat has reached 30,827 tons. This figure is up 31% over the same period in 2020, namely 23,540 tons. Seeing the high gap, of course, imported beef is necessary. Indonesian Chamber of Commerce revealed the reason why Indonesia still imports beef, even though it has many smallholders farms and the industry fits into the country. Let's see it through the next graphic. This is the reason why Indonesia import beef. The first one is consumption is higher than production and lack of beef production center. And most farmer has a social security orientation and higher consumption as beef considered. And even though the import taps have been opened, the Ministry of Agriculture estimates that beef stocks will be in deficit in May. The deficit is estimated at 1,526 tons. On the other hand, specifically for Jakarta, it has estimated that there will be an increase in consumption or demand of up to 50% due to the ban of going home. To cover the deficit, Agung said that the option that could be done was to add import buffers by state-owned companies. In dealing with this, Ministry of Agriculture conducted a weekly monitoring and step aside from the idea of buying cattle farm in Belgium. We hope that government can solve meat deficit in Indonesia through various strategies and hope that Indonesia can take example from Belgium, whereas cattle farming is carried out on an industrial scale and with high technology. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.